The ship was cold. It was always cold. Maya had been on the alien vessel for 47 days, and she had not spoken a single word since the moment they took her from Earth. There were tall creatures. They stood over 2 meters high with gray skin that looked like wet stone. Their eyes were black and empty, like holes in deep water. They had 4 arms, and each arm ended in 3 long fingers. They moved slowly, but when they wanted to hurt someone, they moved very fast. Maya sat in her cell with 11 other humans. They were all women. They had separated the humans by gender when they captured them. Maya did not know where the men were. She did not know if they were still alive. The cell was a metal room with no windows. There was a bucket in the corner for waste. There was nothing else. They gave them food twice a day. It was a gray paste that tasted like nothing. But it kept them alive, and Maya understood that they wanted them alive. Living things have value. Dead things do not. The other women talked to each other. They cried. They prayed. They asked questions that had no answers. Maya listened, but she did not speak. She had decided on the first day that she would not give her voice. Her silence was the only thing she still owned. The guards came 3 times a day to count the prisoners. They pointed at each human and made marks on a small device. The humans were cargo. The humans were numbers. The humans were things to be sold. Maya watched the guards carefully. She watched how they walked. She watched how they held their weapons. She watched which ones were careful and which ones were lazy. She watched everything, and she remembered everything. On the 23rd day, a new alien came to the cell. This one was different from the guards. He was smaller, and his gray skin was lighter in color. He wore a white robe instead of the black armor that the guards wore. He carried no weapon. The other women moved to the back of the cell when he entered. Maya did not move. She sat on the cold floor and looked at the alien with steady eyes. The alien looked at all the humans. Then he looked at Maya. He tilted his head to one side like a bird studying something strange. "This one does not speak," he said. His voice was like rocks grinding together. "Why does this one not speak?" The guard behind him made a gesture with 2 of his arms. "It has been silent since capture. We have tried to make it speak. Pain does not work. It stays silent." The alien in the white robe walked closer to Maya. He bent down so his empty black eyes were at her level. "I am," he said. "I am the scholar. I study the creatures we collect. I want to understand you." Maya looked at him. She did not blink. She did not speak. Straightened up. "Interesting," he said. "Most creatures break quickly. Fear breaks them. Pain breaks them. Loneliness breaks them. But this one does not break." He walked around the cell, looking at the other women. They pressed themselves against the walls. Their fear was thick in the air, ignored their terror. He was only interested in Maya. "I have studied many species," said. "I have studied from the burning worlds. I have studied from the ice moons. I have studied the tall ones from the gas giants, but I have never studied humans before. You are new to us." He came back to Maya and crouched down again. "Your species is weak," he said. "Your bodies are soft. Your bones break easily. You cannot survive in cold or heat. You need air and water and food constantly. By all measures, you should not have survived on your planet, but you did. You survived, and you built cities, and you reached the stars. This is interesting to me." Maya listened. She watched his mouth move when he spoke. She watched his black eyes that showed nothing. She waited. "I think you are staying silent because you believe it gives you power," said. "You have no weapons. You have no strength. You have no hope of escape. But you have your silence, and you hold it like a shield. This is clever. This is more clever than I expected from your species." He reached into his white robe and pulled out a small object. It was a pen, a simple writing instrument with black ink inside. "I want to understand you," said. "I want to know what you think. I want to know what you feel. I want to know why you stay silent when all the others cry and beg. But you will not speak to me, so I give you this." He placed the pen on the floor in front of Maya. "This is a tool for making marks," he said. I have seen that humans use such tools. You make symbols with them. The symbols have meaning. I have learned some of your symbols. If you will not use your voice, perhaps you will use this." Maya looked at the pen. It was small and black. It was made of some kind of plastic. It had a cap on one end and a point on the other. "I will come back," said. "I will bring material for you to make marks on. Think about what you want to say. I am patient. I can wait." He stood up and walked to the cell door. The guard opened it for him. Before he left, turned back to look at Maya one more time. "You are the first human I have met who does not seem afraid," he said. "I wonder why that is." Then he was gone. The door closed. The lock clicked. Maya reached out and picked up the pen. It was light in her hand. She pulled off the cap and looked at the point. It was sharp. Not very sharp, but sharp enough. One of the other women moved closer to her. Her name was. She was older than Maya, maybe 40 years old. She had been a teacher on Earth before the came. "Are you going to write something?" asked. Her voice was a whisper. Maya looked at the pen. She looked at the door. She put the cap back on and held the pen tight in her fist. She did not answer his question, but inside her mind a plan was beginning to form. The alien thought he had given her a tool for communication. He was wrong. He had given her something much more important. He had given her a weapon. Came back the next day. He brought thin sheets of white material that Maya recognized as paper. He placed them on the floor next to her, along with a flat piece of hard material to write on. "I have brought what you need," said. "Now you can make your symbols. Tell me about yourself. Tell me about your world. Tell me about your species." Maya picked up the paper and the writing board. She put a piece of paper on the board. She took the cap off the pen, watched her with his empty black eyes. There was something in his posture that looked like excitement. Maya wrote 3 words. She turned the paper so could see. The words were, "I am hungry." Made a sound that might have been a laugh. "Your first communication, and it is about food. Humans are interesting. Very well, I will have better food brought to you. What else do you want to say?" Maya wrote again, "How long until we arrive?" Tilted his head. "You want to know about the journey? We are going to the great market. It is a station where the trade goods. The journey takes 60 more cycles. In your time measurement, perhaps 80 of your days." Maya nodded. She wrote more words. "What will happen to us there?" "You will be sold," said. His voice was flat, like he was talking about the weather. "Your species is new. New species have high value. Collectors will pay much for you. Some of you will go to work camps. Some will go to breeding facilities. Some will go to private owners who like to have rare creatures." Maya showed no reaction on her face, but inside her heart beat faster. Breeding facilities, work camps, private owners. The words were ugly and cold. She wrote another question. "What happened to the men?" "The males of your species are on another ship," said. "They are more dangerous than the females. They must be kept separate. They fight more. They cause problems. The females are easier to transport." Maya wanted to ask more about the men. She wanted to know if they were being treated badly. She wanted to know if any of them were still fighting. But she stopped herself. She could not show too much interest. She could not let see what she really cared about. Instead, she wrote, "Tell me about the commander." His body went still for a moment. Then he relaxed again. "Commander leads this vessel. He is a military officer. He has captured many species for the great market. He is very successful. Why do you ask about him?" Maya wrote, "I want to understand who controls my life." Seemed to accept this answer. "The commander is a hard being. He does not care about the cargo. He only cares about profit and honor. He has no interest in understanding you. He sees you as things. I see you as mysteries." "What is the difference?" Maya wrote. "Things can be used and thrown away," said. "Mysteries have value that lasts. When you solve a mystery, you become wiser. When you use a thing, you just become richer." Maya thought about this. Was different from the other. He was curious. He wanted to learn. This made him useful to her. It also made him dangerous. Over the next few days, Maya wrote more and more. She asked questions about the ship. She asked questions about the places they had been and the species they had captured before. Answered everything. He seemed happy to talk to someone who listened. Maya learned that they had been traveling through space for thousands of years. They had found many worlds with life. They took what they wanted from those worlds. They sold the creatures. They sold the resources. They left the planets empty. She learned that they were not the only powerful species in the galaxy. There were others. Some were friends with some were enemies, but all of them were afraid of the Navy. They had many ships and many weapons. She learned that the commander was respected by his crew but not liked. He was cold and cruel. He punished mistakes harshly. 3 crew members had been killed by his order since the voyage began. She learned where the commander stayed on the ship. She learned what times he left his quarters. She learned what paths he walked. She learned everything, and she wrote none of it down. She kept it all in her head. The other women watched Maya's conversations with. Some of them were grateful. Because of Maya, the food improved. Because of Maya, the guards were less rough. Had spoken to the commander about treating the cargo better. Damaged cargo sold for less. But some of the women were suspicious. They whispered when Maya could not hear. They wondered why the alien was so interested in her. They wondered what she was really doing. Came to Maya one night when the lights were dim. "What are you planning?" she asked. Maya looked at her. She still did not speak, but her eyes said everything. Understood, her face went pale. "You cannot fight them," she whispered. "They are too strong, they have weapons, they have numbers, we have nothing." Maya held up the pen. Shook her head. "That is just a pen, it is not a weapon. You will get yourself killed. You will get us all killed." Maya wrote on a piece of paper. She showed it too. The words were, "I would rather die fighting than be sold like an animal." Read the words, tears formed in her eyes. "I had a husband," she said. "I had children that took me when I was walking in the park. My family does not know where I am. They do not know if I am alive or dead. If I die here, they will never know what happened to me." Maya wrote, "Then help me fight, help me get us home." Was quiet for a long time. Then she wiped her tears and looked at Maya with hard eyes. "What do you need me to do?" Maya wrote her answer. It took 2 pages of paper. When read it, her hands were shaking, but she did not say no. The plan was beginning. 20 days passed. Maya continued her conversations with. She asked him about everything. She asked about history. She asked about culture. She asked about the technology on the ship. Was happy to answer. He thought he was studying Maya. He did not understand that Maya was studying him. She learned that they had a weak spot on their necks. The skin there was thin. A sharp object could pierce it easily. She learned this when told her about medicine. He explained how they treated wounds in different parts of the body. She learned that the guards changed shifts every 8 hours. The moment between shifts was when they were least alert. The new guards were still sleepy. The old guards were tired and ready to rest. She learned that the commander walked through the cargo area once every 5 days. He liked to inspect what he had captured. He liked to feel powerful. He looked at the prisoners like they were gold coins in his pocket. Maya counted the days. The commander's next inspection would happen in 2 days. That was when she would act. But first, she needed to prepare. She began teaching the other women. She used paper and gestures. She taught them how to move quietly. She taught them how to hide and wait. She taught them where to hit if they got the chance. Not all the women wanted to fight. Some were too scared. Some thought the plan was crazy. Maya did not force them. She only worked with those who were willing. 7 women agreed to help. That was enough. Became Maya's voice. She explained things that Maya could not write down. She kept the others calm. She reminded them why they were doing this. "We are not animals," told them. "We are human beings. We have hands that can create. We have minds that can plan. We have hearts that can hope. To think they have broken us. They are wrong. The night before the commander's inspection, Maya did not sleep. She sat in the corner of the cell and held the pen in her hand. She thought about Earth. She thought about the sun and the sky and the smell of rain. She thought about her mother who had died when Maya was young. She thought about her father who had taught her to be strong. Never give up, her father had said once. No matter how bad things get, never give up. As long as you are breathing, you can fight. As long as you can fight, you can win. Maya closed her eyes. She could almost hear her father's voice. She could almost feel his hand on her shoulder. I will not give up, she whispered. It was the first time she had spoken since they captured her. The words were rough and strange in her throat, but they were her words and she meant them. The next morning the guards came as usual. They counted the prisoners. They left the food. They did not notice that something was different. They did not notice the tension in the air. 2 hours later came. He had more paper and more questions. He sat down near Maya's corner and began talking. I have been thinking about your species, he said. I have read reports from other scholars. They say humans are unpredictable. They say humans do strange things that make no sense. They form bonds with other creatures. They sacrifice themselves for each other. They feel emotions that we cannot understand. Maya wrote on her paper, Is that strange to you? Yes, said. They do not have such emotions. We have purpose. We have duty. We have ambition. But we do not have what you call love. We do not have what you call hope. These things seem like weaknesses to us, but you seem to draw strength from them. This is confusing. Maya wrote, That is because you do not understand us. Made a gesture with his upper arms. I am trying to understand. That is why I talk to you. That is why I study you. Help me understand. Maya thought for a moment. Then she wrote, Love makes us stronger because it gives us something to fight for. Hope makes us dangerous because we never stop trying. You think we are weak because our bodies are soft, but our will is hard, harder than you can imagine. Read her words slowly. His black eyes seemed to look deeper. You speak as if you are planning something, he said. You speak as if you still believe you can escape. Maya showed no reaction. She wrote, I speak the truth about my species. You wanted to understand us. Now you understand. Was quiet for a long moment. Then he stood up. The commander will inspect the cargo soon, he said. I will not be present. I have work to do in the laboratory, but I will return later to continue our conversation. He walked to the door. Before he left, he turned back to look at Maya. I hope you are not planning anything foolish, he said. I have enjoyed our discussions. I would not like them to end. Then he was gone. Maya looked at the pen in her hand. She looked at the door. She looked at and the other women who were ready to fight. The time had come. 1 hour later, the door opened. Commander entered the cell. He was taller than the other. His gray skin was darker, almost black. He wore armor covered in medals and marks of honor. His forearms were thick with muscle. His black eyes were colder than space. 2 guards came in behind him. They carried weapons that could kill from a distance. They stood at attention, watching the prisoners. The commander walked slowly through the cell. He looked at each human. He said nothing. His expression did not change. The women pressed themselves against the walls. Some of them cried quietly. Maya sat in her corner. She did not move. She did not look away. She watched the commander come closer. He stopped in front of her. He looked down at her with his empty eyes. This is the silent one, he said. His voice was deeper than his voice. It sounded like thunder far away. The scholar has told me about you. He says you are interesting. He says you are intelligent. Maya said nothing. She held the pen hidden in her sleeve. I do not care if you are intelligent, the commander said. Intelligence does not increase your value. Silence does not increase your value. You are cargo. You will be sold. That is your purpose. That is your future. He leaned down until his face was close to hers. Do you understand, creature? You are nothing. Your species is nothing. You came from a small world in a small system. You barely reached space before we found you. You are no threat to us. You never will be." Maya looked into his black eyes. She saw her own reflection there. She saw a small human woman with nothing but a pen. She smiled. And then she moved. Maya's hand shot out faster than the commander expected. The pen came out of her sleeve and went straight for his neck. She aimed for the soft spot that it described, the spot where the skin was thin. The pen went in deep. Commander made a sound that was half roar and half scream. Dark blue blood poured from his neck. He grabbed at the pen with two of his arms, trying to pull it out. His other two arms swung wildly at Maya. One arm hit her and threw her across the cell. She hit the wall hard. Pain exploded in her back, but she did not stop. She had done what she needed to do. The guards were stunned for a moment. They had never seen anything like this. A prisoner, a human, attacking the commander. It was impossible. It was unthinkable. That moment of shock was all the women needed. Moved first, she had been waiting near one of the guards. She grabbed his weapon arm and pulled with all her strength. The guard was off balance. He fell forward. Two other women were on him in an instant. They hit him with their fists. They clawed at his face. They went for his eyes. The other guard raised his weapon to fire, but three more women tackled him before he could shoot. They knocked the weapon out of his grip. It slid across the floor. Maya got up. Her body hurt, but she forced herself to move. She ran to the dropped weapon and picked it up. She had watched the guards use these weapons for weeks. She knew where the firing mechanism was. She turned and pointed it at the commander. Was on his knees. The pen was still in his neck. Blood covered his hands and his armor. His black eyes were wide with something new, something Maya had never seen in a before. "Fear." "You," he said. The word came out wet and gurgling. "You are just cargo." Maya spoke. Her voice was clear and strong. "I am not cargo, I am human, and humans never stop fighting." She pulled the trigger. The weapon made a sound like breaking glass. A bolt of energy hit the commander in the chest. He fell backward and did not move again. The cell was chaos now. Alarms were screaming somewhere in the ship. Red lights were flashing. The other prisoners who had not joined the fight were huddled in a corner, crying and shaking. Came to Maya's side. Her hands were covered in blue blood. Her eyes were wild. "What do we do now?" Maya pointed at the cell door. It was open. The guards who had come with the commander were down. One was dead. The other was hurt badly. "We move," Maya said. "We find the other prisoners. We take this ship." It sounded crazy. It sounded impossible. But Maya had learned something in her weeks on this ship. They were not as strong as they seemed. They relied on fear to control their prisoners. When that fear was gone, they did not know what to do. The 7 women who had planned this moment gathered around Maya. They took weapons from the fallen guards. They were ready. "Follow me," Maya said. "Stay close. Watch each other's backs. We survive together or we die together." They moved out of the cell into the corridor beyond. The lights were still flashing red. The alarm was still screaming, but no one was coming yet. The ship's crew had not understood what was happening. Maya led the group through the halls. She knew the layout of this section, had described it during their conversations. He had not known he was giving her a map, but that was exactly what he had done. They reached another cell block. More human prisoners were inside. Maya used the weapon to blast the lock. The door opened. Inside were 30 more women. They looked at Maya and her group with wide eyes. They saw the weapons. They saw the blue blood. "The commander is dead," Maya said. "We are taking the ship. Anyone who wants to fight, come with us. Anyone who cannot fight, stay here. We will come back for you." Some of the women stayed in the cell, but most of them came out. They were scared, but they were also angry. They had been treated like animals for too long. Now they had a chance to fight back. The group was larger now. 40 women moving through the ship like a flood. They found more weapons in a storage room. They found tools that could be used as clubs. They armed themselves with whatever they could find. The first crew member they met was alone. He was walking toward the cargo section, probably sent to check on the alarm. He saw the humans coming and froze. Maya did not hesitate. She fired. He went down. "Keep moving," she said. "We need to find the bridge. That is where we can control the ship." They fought their way through corridors and rooms. They tried to stop them, but the humans had surprise on their side. The crew had not expected an attack from inside. They had not expected their cargo to become their enemy. More fell. A few humans were hurt. One was killed by a lucky shot from a guard, but the group kept going. They could not stop. If they stopped, they would die. Maya thought about the men on the other ship. She thought about all the other species they had captured. She thought about Earth, floating in space, not knowing that aliens were real, not knowing that danger was coming. She would warn them. If she survived this, she would find a way to warn them. But first, she had to survive. The bridge was at the top of the ship. Maya had learned this from. It would be heavily guarded. It would be the hardest part. But when they reached the bridge level, something was wrong. The guards who should have been there were not at their posts. The doors were open. Inside, Maya could see crew members standing in a circle, looking at something. She moved closer and saw what they were looking at. He stood in the middle of the bridge with a weapon in his hands. Around him lay 3 dead, including the ship's second in command. "I heard the alarm," said when he saw Maya. His voice was calm. "I knew what you were doing. I decided to help." Maya stared at him. "Why?" Looked at her with his black eyes. "Because I finally understand. You asked me if I understood humans. I did not, but now I do. You fight for each other. You die for each other. That is something they have forgotten. It is something we used to have long ago. I remember now." He stepped aside. "The bridge is yours. I have disabled the weapons and locked out communications. The crew cannot call for help, but you must hurry. When we reach the great market, other ships will see what has happened." Maya walked onto the bridge. She looked at the controls. She had no idea how to fly a spaceship. None of the other women did either. But did. "Will you help us?" Maya asked. Was quiet for a moment. Then he made a gesture that might have been a nod. "I have betrayed my own kind. I cannot go back now. Yes, I will help you." Maya felt something she had not felt in a long time. Hope. The ship turned away from its course to the great market, guided it toward a different destination, a place he knew about, a place where ships could hide from the Navy. It took them 3 days to get there. During that time, Maya and the other women secured the ship. They locked the surviving crew in the cargo cells where the humans had been held. The irony was not lost on anyone. They found the ship's medical supplies and treated the wounded. They found the food stores and ate real food for the first time in weeks. They found clean water and bathed. They found clothes that were not prison rags. And they found the navigation records. Helped Maya read them. The ship had visited many worlds. It had captured many species. There were coordinates for each one, including Earth. "Can we go back?" Maya asked. "Can we go home?" Looked at the star maps. "It is possible, but dangerous. They will be looking for this ship. They will know what happened. They will want revenge." "I do not care," Maya said. "My people need to know what is out there. They need to prepare." Made his gesture of agreement. "Then we will go, but first we must find allies. One ship cannot fight the Navy. We need help." The hiding place was an asteroid field on the edge of space. Inside one of the largest asteroids was a station. It was old and rusted and barely functional, but it was full of people. Not others, species that had escaped from ships, species that had been hiding for years, species that remembered what freedom felt like. When Maya's ship arrived, the station's leaders came aboard. They were strange creatures of many shapes and sizes. Some had fur. Some had scales, some had no features Maya could describe. They all had one thing in common. They had all suffered under the leader of the station was a being called Thresh. She was small, barely up to Maya's waist, but her eyes were old and wise. She had 4 legs and 2 arms and skin that changed color when she talked. "You killed a commander," Thresh said. Her voice was like music. "With a pen. We have heard the stories already. The news is spreading." "Is that bad?" Maya asked. Thresh made a sound that might have been a laugh. "It is wonderful. For years we have hidden here. We have been afraid. We thought they could not be defeated, but you showed us something different. You showed us that they can bleed, they can die, they can fall." She reached up and touched Maya's hand. "You have given us hope. That is more valuable than any weapon." Maya thought about what it said, about how hope made humans dangerous. Maybe he was right. Maybe hope was the most powerful thing in the universe. "I want to go home," Maya said. "I want to warn my people, but I cannot do it alone. Will you help me?" Thresh looked at the other leaders. They talked in their own languages, sounds and gestures that Maya could not understand. Finally, Thresh turned back to her. "We will help, but we want something in return." "What?" "When you warn your people, tell them about us. Tell them they are not alone. Tell them there are others who want to fight the. Tell them that if they join us, we can be strong together." Maya nodded. "I will tell them, I promise." The journey to Earth took many weeks. The ship had to avoid patrol routes. It had to hide when enemy vessels came close. It had to take the long way through empty space. During that time, Maya talked to the other women. She talked to the alien allies who had joined them. She learned their stories. She shared her own. And she started to speak more and more. The silence that had protected her was no longer needed. Now she needed her voice. She needed to be heard. When they finally saw Earth, Maya felt tears on her face. The blue planet hung in space like a jewel. It was small. It was fragile. It looked nothing like she remembered. It was the most beautiful thing she had ever seen. "How do we contact them?" asked. She stood beside Maya looking at their home. "How do we make them believe us?" "We show them," Maya said. "We land this ship where they cannot ignore it. We tell them what happened. We bring proof." The ship entered Earth's atmosphere. It descended over a large city. Millions of people looked up and saw an alien vessel in their sky. Planes scrambled. Sirens wailed. The world stopped and stared. Maya brought the ship down in a park near the center of the city. She opened the doors. She walked down the ramp into sunlight and fresh air. Within minutes, soldiers surrounded them. Guns were pointed. Orders were shouted. It was chaos and fear and confusion. Maya raised her hands. She stepped forward slowly. "My name is Maya," she said. Her voice was calm and clear. "I am human. I was taken from this planet 53 days ago. I killed the alien commander who captured me. I stole his ship, and I came back to warn you." She pointed at the sky. "They are coming, more of them. They want to take us. They want to sell us. They think we are weak. They think we are cargo." She lowered her hand and looked at the soldiers, at the people gathering beyond them, at the cameras filming everything. "They are wrong. Humans are not weak. Humans fight. Humans never give up. And now we know we are not alone. There are others out there who will stand with us, who will help us fight." She paused. The world was watching. The world was listening. "I am just one woman," Maya said. "I had nothing but a pen, but I brought down a commander. I took his ship. I came home. Imagine what we can do together. Imagine what humanity can do when we face this threat united." She looked up at the sky one more time. Somewhere out there they were preparing. Somewhere out there the alliance was growing. A war was coming. A war that would decide the fate of species across the galaxy. "They thought they could break us," Maya said. "They were wrong. They thought we would be silent. They were wrong. They gave me a pen to write my story. I used it to write my freedom." She smiled. It was a fierce smile, a hopeful smile, a human smile. "Now," she said, "let me tell you everything." And she did. She told the world about thee and the aliens and the great market. She told them about the creatures who wanted to help. She told them about the battles to come. The world listened, the world believed, and the world began to prepare. Because that is what humans do. They adapt, they survive, they fight back. A scholar had given a silent woman a pen to break her silence. She had used it to kill a commander. She had used it to steal a ship. She had used it to change the course of history. The pen is mightier than the sword, the old saying goes. But sometimes the pen is the sword. Sometimes the smallest gift becomes the greatest weapon. And sometimes the creatures you capture become the ones who set the galaxy free. Humanity was coming, and they would learn what that meant. The hard way.